Would you believe me if I told you I paid £40 for this broken Nintendo Switch off of eBay? £40 for a Switch. Hopefully in today's video we're able to fix it and sell it for a profit. It's even got a kickstand, which is a complete rarity when you buy Nintendo Switches off of eBay. Do we have a game card? No, unfortunately not. But what I can confirm is that we are missing a screw from the top along with a scratch. Both of the screws from the bottom, but the side screws are intact, and we do have present all of the tri-wing screws as well. If I was to take an educated guess, I would say £40 is very cheap, therefore the person was just trying to get rid of it. However, I've been wrong before, and if I can fix this, I should be able to at least double my money. We're going straight in with an observation of the actual USB-C port itself to see what the condition of it is like, and to be honest with you, looks okay. Doesn't look bad at all. Do we have any give in it? Does it wobble? No, it's actually solid. Okay, what about the inside? Solid as well. Interesting. I'll plug in the ammeter and we'll see what happens. There is a bit of debris, as you can see. I'm a rhyming machine like a big tree, because trees rhyme. But we also have missing plastic here as well. So I think somebody's already been in this switch. Let's grab our magical friend. This is my best friend in the whole entire world, my ammeter. We're going to plug it into the charging port only because the charging port looks to be okay. If the charging port had bent pins or anything, I wouldn't put this device in because we wouldn't want to give the switch power. If we give the switch power when there's crossing pins or anything, it could do further damage to the console, making my attempted repair a lot more difficult. But at the end, what do we get? We get something. We get 14.8 volts, 15 volts, 0.13 amps. Oh, okay. This might be a really simple one. The screen just looks a bit mashed up. I've got a lot of replacement donor cases, so if that is the case, then we might have got really lucky with this one. This area here is inside the case on the right hand speaker. We do have some little signs of corrosion at the bottom, but the board itself actually looks okay. This is the thermal paste, or should I say the thermal putty that they use, which actually looks like it's been removed. The rest of the switch, that cable is out a little bit, it needs to be pushed in. The rest of this looks okay. I'm just skimming and scanning. This is the bottom where the charging port is, and again, we don't have signs of water damage that has come to this side of the board, which is nice. M92 looks shabby dabby do, and everything around BQ looks intact. We are definitely missing the pad here, so usually that does mean that somebody has been inside it, unless it's on the bit of metal, which it is. I'll take that back. It's just a thermal pad. It's got the writing engraved on it. Look, so we just put that back and squish it down. BQ does get extremely hot, and the area where the shield covers the charging port, again, seems to have some corrosion. So I'll take the board out of the switch, we'll hook it up to a good working chassis, and we'll see if it works. We do have over here, again, some more corrosion on this screw, which is right next to the LCD connector, but the game card slot looks fine. I have taken a mental note as to where there might be potentially some corrosion, so I can go ahead and clean this now. Let's get the rest of it apart. And just like that, we can remove the actual switchboard itself. If I'm being honest, I think I've got extremely lucky because you see all of this corrosion that is where the charging port is. On the charging port itself, I have nothing. And if I turn it around, there's nothing on the back as well. So I've got extremely lucky that the corrosion hasn't gone from the casing to the actual board. Now, I found a replacement chassis. The screen on it isn't that great. As you can see, there's a lot of scratches, but I believe this screen works. So I'm just going to use this for testing to make sure that we have nothing else wrong with the actual Nintendo Switch board. Okay, moment of truth. I've put it back in the chassis. Again, just backlight and LCD ribbon connector, so not too much. Are we going to have ourselves a fully working Nintendo Switch? Interesting. We've now got 15 volts, 0 amps. So the switch isn't taking the battery not plugged in. Silly Joey. Let's try that again. There we go. We have the light. Amazing. We have the charging symbol. Sorry, not the light. I'm very crazy today. I'm feeling very crazy today. I don't know why, but just like that, we've got the charging symbol. As much as I get my complete and utter failures of not being able to fix stuff, equally it's as important to show you my wins and sometimes how lucky you can really get. Now, it would be a different story if I didn't have a donor case for the Nintendo Switch. That would then eat into your profits if you had to go and buy one from eBay. But luckily, because I'm so bad at fixing Nintendo Switches, I have a couple of donors. Now, theoretically, I could put this board into a Nintendo Switch and there could be 10,000 things wrong with it. I have found a nicer screen here that looks in great condition. The fault with this one, and the reason why it's a donor, is pretty interesting. This is the board from that Switch, and the notes I have on it is that I attempted a trace repair on the charging port, and this was probably around the time I first started fixing Nintendo Switches. So leave a comment down down below if you'd like to see a video of me revisiting some of the previous repairs I attempted that didn't actually work out, to see if I can then go back and maybe repair them. I think that'll be a pretty cool idea for a video. Theoretically, I could replace the screen on this one that wasn't working, the one that has the water damage, but we've got the cracks down here, we've actually got the initial water damage itself, so I wouldn't be comfortable putting the switch in here just with a replacement screen. Plus sometimes you have to work smarter rather than harder, and I already have the cases for these, so to switch it from one case to another is a lot quicker than trying to mess about replacing the screen. So again, a quick test on this one that I feel like is a good choice for our switch today. Now let's get that moment of truth with this housing. Do we get an image on the screen? We're just looking for a charging symbol. We do, so that proves that the housing is good. Perfect. Now I'll quickly put everything back together and we'll give the switch a full test to make sure that the Joy-Con rails work, the game cartridge slot, the Wi-Fi, etc. We'll just make sure that everything works with it. Okay, let's see if this works. The reason why this is 0.16 amps is probably because the battery in this device is severely drained, so it just needs a little bit of time to allow more current to go through the battery, whilst that other one is taking a charge. This is the faulty switch with the charging port that I took the housing from. I'm not actually getting anything in the ammeter for this, but I just want to see why. Like, is that pin's loose? Okay, like I said, this is one that I've probably done a very long time ago. Let's hold it up this way. How are we looking? Okay, that pin is very loose. That pin is very loose. That one's very loose. That one's very loose. Solid. We have our first solid pin. That one's okay. That one's a tiny bit loose, and this one's loose also. Theoretically, I could just solder over these pins here on the outside and this USB-C port should work, but just for funsies and whilst I wait for the other switch to charge, I will take this port off and see what the traces are looking like underneath, because I done trace repair on this supposedly. Okay, I'd be lying to you if I said I can remember this, but if I'm being honest, I don't think that's a bad attempt. I might be kidding myself a little bit, but again, that's not horrendous. Maybe this little trace wire just needs to come over a little bit. Just like that. It doesn't look that bad. I might just quickly put a new port on this to see if I can get it working. Would you look at that, just as we finished trying to fix this charging port on this old Nintendo Switch, the new one that we got for this video is now on. And it looks like there is no parental controls, but again, we'll look at that very shortly. It's at 4% right now, which is great timing. And as you can see, it's still 15 volts at 0.92 amps. I will quickly now check, however, to see whether I get any charging on this, because before I didn't. I got nothing on the ammeter at all. So if I plug this in, do we get anything now? Still nothing. This side? Still nothing. And I know for a fact all of these pins here are now solid, at least the top row. And our Nintendo Switch should work, or at least charge, or get something on the ammeter, sorry, with just that top row of pins working. So maybe it is something else. I shouldn't have started this in this video because now I have to see why it's not working. They are all making... Oh, maybe this one isn't. Okay, this one isn't. It's almost like I've picked up a side quest. How solid are you now? Yeah, solid. I'll just quickly check over them again to make sure, but I'm pretty sure the others were fine. Yeah, it's just this end one here. I'll put a ton of solder on it now. Does it work? Here we go. Ammeter. No, nothing on either side again. Probably gonna have to visit this in another video, but again, I've just put the ammeter in. I just want to see on my multimeter if I'm getting any voltage through the fuse. No, I'm not getting anything come through to the fuse. Just trying it the other way as well, just to make sure. No, still nothing. And all those pins are fine. So I should be getting charging at least one way. It makes no sense. That M92T36 does look a little bit dead in the water, doesn't it? Oh yeah. Oh, Joey. See, look guys, and this is it. Yet again, just more proof of, you know, you will start somewhere. However, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the reason why I'm not getting voltage in. If M92 is bad, which obviously the soldering job doesn't look that great, you should still have 15 volts getting to the fuse here, because that's the way that the circuit goes. For the sake of it, I will just quickly reflow M92T36. Yes, we're quite fluxy. However, I just wanted to do this really quickly and see if this resolves the issue, which I don't think it will, because like I said, we're not getting 15 volts in, but that M92 had to be sorted anyway. Lord above, what's happened here? Oh, just a bit of loose solder. I'm going to assume that part just flew out from underneath the chip. Okay, here we have the board. Let's just test. See if it works. Oh, we actually do get a light. Oh, sweet. Okay, 0.02, 0.04. That's actually normal behavior as well. Okay. Okay, so maybe what it was is that M92, even though I checked with my multimeter to see if there was any shorts around it, it could have been maybe internally shorted because of my bad soldering, which was preventing the 15 volts from even getting to the fuse. Other moment of truth, I guess, is does it work on the other side? Because if it does, it does. Okay, so the trace wire job I done on this, I don't even know what video it would have been. It might have even been a live stream, but I doubt it. I've probably done it for a video at some point. It was fine. It was just a bad port and a bad M92. The trace repair work was all right. That makes me very, very, very happy. Like I said, if you want to see me revisit older projects, leave a comment down below. I do need to move back on to this switch that I originally planned this video for, which also has great news. We have 0.9 amps on the back, and if I flip it over, we get charged on this side as well. 0.37 should bump up, there we go, 0.9. Which also indicates that the charging port on this is absolutely fine. We don't have any parental controls on the device, which is also another win. And just insert a game to make sure we're okay. Oh, an error has occurred when we insert a game. Let's just restart it and see if it was definitely the actual game itself. So it turns off. Okay, console battery low. Put the game in. Oh my god, the game causes that error. I've never seen that. Interesting. Could that maybe be a software issue? I'll just try and update the switch and see if it is a software issue. I highly doubt it. Something might be causing the pins to short, which is why it's turning off, or at least displaying the error. I've updated the system, but we still have the exact same issue. I'm gonna swap out the card reader and see if it still happens. So I still get the exact same error, and I've even tried a different game card reader, and I've tried a different game, and I'm still getting the same issue, and it's only when I insert a game. Let me try the SD card slot and see if I get the same thing. So I've buckled down the SD card slot reader. I'm back on the actual switch itself. If I put an SD card in now, what happens? That seems to be absolutely fine. It's just saying that it needs to restart because of the software, etc., which is exactly what it should do. So that message is only relating to when I put a game in, and I've tried a different card slot, so it can't be the actual card slot itself. It might be something on the board. Let me try it with the SD card in now. So go to put the game in. Pops up with it. How strange. The only time I've had that error before is when there's an issue with the M92T36 power IC. Is it possible that that's being affected when I'm putting in the game cartridge slot somehow? Does it need a new M92T36? Everything else is fine, the charging is fine, etc. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research. I have managed to launch a piece of software, but it's not a game cartridge. I guess let's take it apart again. Out of interest, what I'm gonna do this time is hold down on the actual FPC connector on the board, because maybe that's faulty. So the switch is now on. Let's push down and see what happens. No, same thing. So I don't think it's, you know, pressure on like a loose pin on the FPC connector or anything like that. Okay, let's take it apart further. I have just reset the console completely as well, and I'm still having the same issue. So I'm gonna have to take it apart and see if I can spot anything on the actual board itself. I thought this was gonna be a simple one, but clearly not. We are back under the scope, and I'm just taking a look around the board for anything obvious that might be jumping out. This is the FPC connector for the game card slot, and this is the connector that was plugged into it. Nothing wrong with that. And like I said, I've tried two anyway, and then when it comes to the actual connector, it looks fine. Can't see any issues with that at all. Does it make a good connection? Seems like it. Doesn't seem to be loose in any way, shape or form. It had good snap to it. Strange. We do have a couple of caps here. I'm just gonna check them real quick and maybe even just measure the resistors to see what's going on. If we check behind, we have this chip here, which I don't actually know what it does, if I'm being 100% honest. We've got a few more components, so I will check those as well. Okay, let's see if any of these are shorted. They seem fine. Check the other side, these little ones. That cap, I mean, it's 11 ohms. So that's showing a reading, okay, that's showing a reading of 2.4 ohms. This side, 6.7. So my guess is that this is maybe ground, and this side actually does something, but it's just low impedance of 7 ohms. We can check this story with a known working board, see what happens with this cap. Ah, okay. We get about anywhere between 45 and 200 ohms on that side. This side, we get no beep, no short to ground. That's 28 ohms, this cap. Okay, so what's the non-working board with this cap? 8 ohms. Okay, so we clearly, something's wrong. The back checks out the same as the one that does work. So could it be this chip here? This chip looks like it is a BGA. Oh dear Lord. Let's hope it's not this chip. Can we see any issues underneath? Looks okay that side. Again, can be deceiving. That side looks okay though. And from what I can tell, That side looks alright. And this side looks okay. So what do I get on just a few random resistors then? Are these resistors all the same value? These are 50, well that one's 50k, that one's 50k. Everything looks okay. Alright, so all these resistors seem to be 45k. This one's 4.5k, 4.5k. Let's just compare with a good known working board. All the resistors seem absolutely the same. This is the known working board still. Just checking this resistor. Never mind, that's a cap. If I could see where the issue is, then we wouldn't have an issue and I could just replace whatever component it was, but everything seems to be checking out okay, except for those caps. I am just checking another, this is my third donor board now, just to check these caps here and see what I should be getting. I'm gonna just take these caps off, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna take both of those caps off and see what happens. Now those caps are gone, let's see if we still have a short. Yeah, we do. On both of them, we still have a short. I have no idea what's going on. I'm a little bit lost at this point, if I'm being honest with you. The only other thing that I can think of, potentially, is when I've had a similar error to that in the past, it's related to M92T36, but let me test around here and see if I've got any shorts. Nothing. Everything around M92 is fine. So I'm a little bit reluctant to change it, but at the same time, I don't think I really have a choice. I think that's going to be the last thing that I try. Not having these caps here, I don't see that as being a huge problem. They might be important, who knows? But let's try and replace M92 and see if that fixes the issue. M92 has been replaced. Just trying to get this blob out. Of course, there's only one blob that comes out from underneath the chip and it's in this location. Where my iron, there we go. Okay, good, yeah, I've got it out. Oh, okay, good. Are we good? We're good. I've replaced M92. Let's see if that has resolved our issue. Before I fully reassemble, do we still have, okay. We still have a short on these areas, which is interesting. We'll just go for a quick reflow of this chip. I don't see any harm in it. Yeah, why not? Let's go for a quick reflow. Christ knows what it does. Yeah, definitely reflow. And now clean with some isopropyl alcohol and a test. So with the yeeting of 2 caps and a change in M92T36, do we have anything different on this Nintendo Switch? Here we have our game. What happens? Nothing. Okay. It couldn't be red. Okay, but that's different to instead of it just turning off. Okay, let's try again. Okay, let me replace those capacitors then and see if that has potentially resolved our issue, even though we still have a short on those lines. Here we go, this is attempt 3746. What happens now when we put a game in? Do we get the same error message? It works, man! We fixed it! No. Let me try the other game. Yes, come on, it actually works. Does it start up? I need to obviously test it a little bit more off camera to make sure that it actually works, but I just want to see if it starts up. Oh my god, it does. Before I reassemble, I do just want to see if we're still getting shorts on these caps. I know it's not the best soldering job, but clearly it works. Yeah, we still do get a short. It's not a short to ground exactly. Like I said, this side is 7 ohms, and this side is ground. This side is 7 ohms. This side is ground. So I don't know whether maybe it's just this board revision, HAC CPU 20, that does this with the caps. And here is our final product, a shiny looking Nintendo Switch. Now I am going to turn it on, and we're just going to make sure that the Joy-Cons work and register. That one does, good. This one, yes, okay, sweet. So both of them do work. And again, if I just take out the game cartridge just to show you and then put it back in, you can see that on the Mario game it says that the card is inserted. We have fixed it and I can't believe it. One final thing actually, I just want to make sure that we are getting a full 15 volts when we now charge, because we changed M92T36. Yes, we do. And we're getting a 0.9 amp draw, it's good. Battery's charging, other controllers charging. Yes, they are. Everything is good. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a bit of a roller coaster. Something I thought was going to be really simple actually ended up being really difficult. So if you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to see me fixing some more Nintendo Switches, feel free to follow me over here to this video. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.